I've been intrigued by
I'm in
the
love with this
damn.
car, man.
I've been intrigued by the damn Tesla.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So much so
I
that I
want one.
scheduled a test drive. Right, exactly. I scheduled a test drive for the Tesla Model 3 because I went down the rabbit hole and read, should I buy a used Model S or a new Model 3?
Right.
You did the same. You scheduled a test drive. You also, I'm sure, went down the same rabbit hole I did, or your version of it. We were probably burrowing in the same articles daily.
Of course.
What did you read?
Of
What did you
course.
read before going? Before you went to the test drive, what was the thing that, like, why were you watching Tesla?
Okay, so I've always wanted an electric. Well, not always. I have for a long time wanted an electric vehicle. I wanted an electric vehicle once they were capable of performing in some semblance of a manner. I'm Detroit through and through, man. I'm Automation Alley, I-94, grew up, son of a GM engineer. Like, I'm a car dude, man. Me and my dad have, a lot of that in common. We both love vehicles and gas vehicles, and not necessarily just gas guzzler muscle cars, Detroit, but, like a car that's got some get up, a car that you tap the accelerator and it's like, word, we doing this?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
about time.
Right.
Right.
Right. Car be bored going down that highway. Like, man, I wish this would. But, and I've been waiting for a car that could do that, an electric vehicle that could do that. Because I see cats in the Prius, and I be feeling bad for them, man. They be going up a hill, and I want to get out and just help them push that little motherfucker up. Like, this going to take you 15 minutes. I live in Seattle. It's going to take you 15 minutes to give up this vertical ass hill in that car. And the car be making faces and shit like it's really trying, Like, I can't be that dude in that vehicle. Plus, it looks like a Pacer, the joint that we grew up with. So I was like, it's got to look sleeker. I want to feel like I'm sitting in the Enterprise, or at least or even better, I want to feel like I'm sitting in the Defiant from Deep Space Nine, right? Like, that's what I want. I want to be Geordie LaForge season 1, tapping buttons and my car is going. And so, man, and then your ass, of course, was like, hey, man, I set up the test drive. Because that means I got to do it now. So, yeah, okay, so that's the rubber. So how did you feel on the test drive?
We had divergent test drive experiences. We had divergent test drive experiences. I think we both went into it like, like excitement. It's cool. I'm going to go do the test drive. We both have Tesla locations in our respective towns, which was fantastic. I went in and had a ball, right? I've only done 2 test drives ever of new cars, ever. I test drove a 911 convertible, and I test drove the Tesla Model 3. That's ever. Every other car I've ever test driven has been like, used car, I'll take it. Give me the toaster, I'll take it. That's it. That's it. I don't expect much from the car. You gonna get me where I'm going? Cool.
You walk out at the end, and exhibit is like, you've officially been pimped. Here's your 1999 Acura the key.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. So the 2 new cars that I've driven with the, with the actual test drive have been fantastic. But I drove that car and I didn't take it easy on the car. I learned so much in my test drive. Like, I had no idea that you really never touch the brakes. No idea. That was strange. I had no idea that the kind of the radar would show me so much detail about everything around me on the screen. That was strange. But I drove that car. Like, I didn't play. I drove that car. And when I came back, I was like, this is fun. This is a fun drive. I don't need to go with the bigger joint. I don't need to go with the higher joint. This one, the little zippy one, is incredibly fun. You came back and was like, it's a car. I was like, what?
To a large extent, right? Because I was so, I want the car, right? I want one of these joints. So the things that stood out to me, I was really thinking in terms of practical. Like, I'm driving a joint like, yeah, okay, so when I'm going to the grocery store, and when I'm driving this during Cool. All right. So I wonder if I can hook my garage door opener up so I can just press a button. I'm thinking about what I'm going to do when I get this car home. I didn't push the joint like that. Hell, I probably drove in a straight down line to the dealership, and then realized my test drive is coming to an end. I tell you, so one of the things that threw me off during the test drive was the feeling that I am under constant surveillance, right? Like, they looking at me, and every time I go to put my pinky towards my left nostril, they're gonna be sitting there making, look, he about to pick his nose. He don't think, okay, watch it. And so, with all of the information fire hose that the Tesla turns on for you, which is dope. Again, that's the experience I wanted. So for me, it was so much of checking boxes. I was, and I don't know I think you watched Black AF.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Kenya Barris.
Of course.
And I love that. I know it got, my fellow woke people snapped on it, but
yeah.
Right. I thought it was hilarious. I wish they did season 2. I guess it's going to be a movie instead of season 2. But at one point, his wife, Joya, says they test drive. I think it's a Porsche. They test drive the Porsche, and she's like, "Oh my God, you need to buy this car. If you don't buy this car, I will find a dude who has this car and fuck him." I was like, that's where I was already. So it was so much of just like, how do I get to know my new car? That it took away a lot of the newness. But to your point about the brake thing, for sure, that was brand new. Like it was. I think because we spend so much time on SUVs, right? And ATVs, right?
Yeah.
We ride in the sand, we ride in the mud, we ride up and down hills. That's a regular thing that we do. So we're used to different vehicles feeling different ways, and in particular vehicles where you don't really hit a brake.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Vehicles where you use the engine to slow down.
Yeah.
And so it didn't take that much. It took some getting used to doing that with an accelerator.
Yeah.
With lifting off the accelerator as a brake and then finding a cruising speed.
Yep.
Like you can't just give it gas and then let off a little bit.
Yeah.
Because like you give it gas and then you start to slow down. You're like,
Yep. That's it. That's definitely the thing that gets used to. And it reminds me of the unmitigated gall of a guy to decide, I'm going to reinvent how generations and generations of people have been taught to drive in their driver's test. I'm going to make it so that one pedal driving. Wait, what?
Mm-hmm.
and it works. So
right.
Yeah, I
absolutely.
I enjoy it. I enjoyed the ride. I would buy the car. The only thing that conflicts with me having the car this very moment is, my own financial sense, which says, I'm about to pay off my other car. It's about to be paid off. I like having no payments. Mm-hmm. That feels good. However, I just read this other article that was like, this guy bought his car 3 years ago and sold it back, and calculating his lack of maintenance, lack of gas, all this stuff. He said he paid $100 a month to own the car, to own and drive the car.
Right.
Because he got so much back. The depreciation is so different in these Teslas as they get updated. The software gets updated as well. We're kind of in this point where used cars are at a premium right now anyway, value-wise. So there's these anomalies. Mm-hmm. So what's it going to take to push you over the edge if you were to really consider getting the car?
Yeah, really consider.
Oh, you mean like you'll have it, like it's already on the calendar?
No. This is it's a foregone conclusion.
Yeah.
This is going to happen.
Yeah.
It is an inevitability, and it has been. It's been the financial considerations, and you and I have talked about this a bit, like the financial and making sure. And it's one of those things now where it is something that I can afford. I don't need a new car by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm it's an awesome position to be in, blessing, luck, and everything else, and hard work, and getting hookups, whatever you want to call it. I'm in a position where I can get one. And so now it's a matter of shopping around and seeing what kind of, rates I can get, seeing what their financing is like, and, than taking delivery right now. When you don't get something that is on the lot or locally available, delivery time is like 2 months.
Yes, four
which
times
is a
year.
part of the financial.
They drop
Right.
once a quarter.
And so,
yeah.
right. And, so it's another piece of the financial consideration, because let's say, I go today and go and go grab the joint, right, and go down to the dealership. It's still 2 months before, payments and all that kind of stuff kicks in, because, of course, you don't have to start paying on the car until you get it. So.
Yeah. For me, the push over the line, I really am, like, no matter what, I'm not going in until I see what's happening with the Biden administration potentially re-engaging the tax credit. Because if that's coming, I don't want to be the donkey of the day. I don't want to, like, go get it, and then 2 months later, oh, here comes the tax credit. Or it goes into next year. It doesn't come until January, in which I bought it in this calendar year, which means I don't get it or whatever. You know what I mean? I need to be sure that I'm not going to miss out on what looks like to be a $10,000 rebate, because I could use a $10,000 rebate. I don't know about you.
Man, for sure.
Yeah.
And that is something that I'm thinking about. I am throwing my trust into Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, and I'm going to assume that I will be able to reap some sort of financial benefit at some point, even if it's not the full. I don't expect them to retroactively go back to purchases made, whenever in the next few months, hopefully when I'm buying it. I think, though, that they will offer incentives for people who did right beforehand.
Right.
A yearly incentive, a yearly electric vehicle credit, those types of things. I'm assuming that I'd still be able to get those, because they took in the Trump administration took a lot of that stuff out too. So
yeah. Yep. Cool.